You're very welcome. Happy to have you here.
Okay, let's get started. What are the latest engineering trends?
Well, the latest trends that we've seen as a firm is continued sustainability, environmental issues, just trying to make sure that the systems that are installed are the greatest amount of efficiency, uses the least amount of energy, and try to be environmentally friendly. I mean, a lot of it has to do with the latest, reducing a lot of the refrigerants that are harmful to the environment. Those are being phased out. A lot of the new systems that we're proposing, a lot of them are geared towards codes. The codes are changing now to make sure that, again, everything is more environmentally friendly. The amount of power that's used for both equipment, lighting, etc. So therefore, less electric means less power generation back at the power plants. So this all works in concert to make sure that everything is more efficient. In addition, it's we're trying to get more environmentally friendly in terms of the occupancies, outside air, fresh air, toxins that are in the furniture and the carpeting and things like that. That's more architecturally based, but obviously there's a mechanical influence with it as well.
So we are obviously have been in the middle of a heat wave.
Okay.
How has that impacted business, or what do you have to do differently?
Well, it definitely tests the systems that are in place, mechanical systems in particular. If there's any kind of fragility, or if they're, these are going to test it basically to its limits. So the humidity levels, the temperatures, the equipment. If there's a problem, it's going to fail.
What's like the craziest call you've gotten?
Basically, probably the craziest time was during Sandy. That was when we had the most amount of troubleshooting. We had several clients downtown, major buildings, where they just suffered from obviously water damage. Most of their basements were completely filled with water. Power systems were shut down, pumps couldn't work. So basically those buildings were out of operation. Obviously that creates a lot of issues with the tenants. They have to evacuate the buildings, therefore they don't pay rent. We had to get them up and running as fast as possible. So reaching out to the clients reached out to us, and in concert with many of their vendors, contractors, we cobbled together some systems to be able to run them on a temporary basis, but to get the building lit, operating, and all the life safety systems. And it was kind of crazy because we were walking in some very dangerous conditions. Many of the basements where the electric services were wading in knee-deep water, and not knowing what's on, what's off. Obviously, it was a little nerve-wracking, but we got through it.
So what sectors do you work the most in?
Well, right now we primarily do corporate interior work. We do a large amount of landlord work for some of the largest landlord tenants in the city. But we also do a large amount of high-rise residential. And so if you were to say the three sectors that we do the most, that would be it. Our biggest client is actually SL Green, largest landlord in New York City. They've been our largest client probably the last 17, 18 years. So they've been very, very good to us. Being that we're in this growing pattern, our idea is that we definitely want to pick up some additional sectors, additional revenue sources. So we want to go definitely deep into healthcare, higher education, and to branch out and maybe do commissioning and the likes.
In which states are you seeing the most growth?
We're hoping Miami is going to be continuous for us right now. Being that we've made the investment down there, Miami is a little bit of a different animal than it is in New York. It has its trends are much more cyclical than New York is a much more steadier pace. Long Island seems to be nice and steady. New Jersey seems to have a nice steady pace as well. So that's where it's kind of keeping us, again, locally here in the tri-state area. But we are looking to branch out.
So the price of construction seems to be still going up. How do you keep construction costs down?
We look at it to see where we can save, what systems may need to be replaced, what can be reused, and a lot of it is reuse. Wherever there's our systems or installations where we can possibly reuse ductwork, reuse power distribution, sprinklers. There's no reason why you have to, run everything new if what we can reuse is available. But also we look at trends and say, okay, like on some mechanical systems, there's VAV boxes which are, basically zone control, and we try to use it where it's modest as opposed to over complicating something or putting more in than necessary. So.
But do you think that there's any feasible way to bring down the cost of housing without government intervention?
My personal feeling is government is only going to make things more expensive. It's, but it's there's so many components, especially the brand new housing, high rises. Our components are only a portion of it. So I guess it all depends on what. I think the architects tend to make things pretty expensive with their exterior skins and the like, but it's they want the buildings to be interesting, and they want it to be pleasant to the eye. So sometimes that comes at a cost. So.
What are some of the heating and cooling trends that you expect to see in the future?
So one of the trends that we've seen are the VRF systems. That seems to be what wants to be used on each and every project these days, and it was something that was started in Europe and in Asia, and now it's taken hold big time here in the States. And it's called, VRF is a variable refrigerant flow, and what that allows is, and with the refrigerant systems, to allow simultaneous heating and cooling with one piece of equipment, and it also allows for great zone control. So we see it a lot in residential apartments. We've seen them kind of breaking into the commercial side of things, but that's kind of where I see it continuing to grow, and that once that gets more efficient and more, we're going to see more and more of that.
What's the most high-profile project you've done so far this year?
Well, the one that's probably most nearest and dearest to my heart, that I think from a profile and a vision is the St. Nicholas Greek Church down in Ground Zero. I think that to me is probably the most, because of obviously the hallowed ground that's there. I'm personally I'm Greek Orthodox as well, so but it's to have been involved with that piece of work. It's really going to be a jewel box of downtown, I feel, and it's going to be a gorgeous church. So, and I think that's, to me, is probably what is, in my mind, the most important, most high-profile kind of project that we've done.
Thanks for having us. It was great chatting with you. Really appreciate it.
I'm glad you came.